everyone! Welcome back to Comfy Cozy Crochet with Triss. I am Triss, and this is actually Movie and Stitch. This is a hashtag that I believe was originally created by Terri over at Yarnjoy podcast. I'll link that down below. I know Ella from No Catchy Name is doing this, as well as Lee and Valerie. So I will go ahead and link them down below. And there's several other YouTubers. Debbie from the Canadian Crocheter is who actually asked me to jump on the bandwagon. And I know there are several other people who are. Reggie from J Hook Crochet is also doing it. Heather, the Crochet Witch, is doing it. Several other people. I'll try to link them down below, or at least link the podcast. I believe Ella from No Catchy Name said that they were creating a podcast and they were going to put everybody who did a Movie and Stitch video over into that, so that everybody could just easily go and watch that. You can also just search hashtag Movie and Stitch, which I will try to put a header up here so that you guys can see that and how that's all spelled out. So I did a very quick, like 7-minute video kind of announcing that I was going to do this and letting you know that I was going to do A, the adjustment bureau, and B, I was going to do backdraft. I did nothing else as far as really showing you what I was going to be working on, or doing any of the information on the movies and the trivia that goes along with it. And that's really my favorite part of this tag. I love movies, I love trivia, and I always love the little behind the scenes, you know, what's really going on in the movie, little anecdotes. So I wanted to do a little bit of backtracking, go over the trivia for A, for the adjustment bureau, then show you what I was working on and during the B movie. And then I also want to announce what I'm going to be watching for C. So I also want to say that I'm going to be doing this just a little bit different. I hope that's okay with everybody. I didn't get permission to change this up, but I just can't choose. And my husband and I are kind of huge movie buffs, or in and of that we just really love to sit and watch movies. But we're not, you know, super highbrow movie watchers necessarily. We just love all movies, right? So anyway, we were having a really hard time choosing. And for one thing, I'm like, well, I want to watch one that I know that I really, really love and that's one of my favorite movies, and you know, tell everybody about one of my favorite movies, but I also really want to watch some new movies and branch out. And I feel like we haven't watched a whole lot of new to us movies. Movies from the past we've just never seen, movies that have come out since we've had the baby that we've never seen, things like that. So for adjustment bureau, I just went ahead and did the one, and then I really ran into, but I want to watch these ones, and I want to watch this one, and I want to watch this one. And so for B on, I will have at least 2 movies per 2-week time period that I'm going to talk to you about. Also gives me a little bit more time to actually work on a project too, besides just like the 2 hours, right? So without further ado, let's hop in. So as I've previously said, and I'm sorry, I've got a little spiral notebook here with some notes that I jotted down, but my first movie that I watched for a couple of weeks ago now was The Adjustment Bureau. This is a 2011 film starring Matt Damon and Emily Blunt, 2 of my favorite actors. They're gonna label this on IMDb as a romance sci-fi thriller movie. Don't agree with that. It's a romance for sure, but for the most part, it's just talking about fate and what would happen when the adjustment bureau, that's basically trying to dictate your life and guide you down the path that they want you to go based on what fate or destiny says that you're gonna do. And they're like the fixers that go and make sure you stay on the path that you're destined to be on. You know, usually you think of sci-fi and you think of space movies, aliens, you know, something really, really out there. This is not one of those. So if you're not into sci-fi, you very possibly will still like this movie. And it's not scary in the slightest. So if you hear thriller or see thriller, please don't be put off. It's not that kind of movie. But it's fantastic. It's one of those that really gets you thinking, and I always appreciate that kind of movie. It's also hilarious in my kind of humor. David Norris, Matt Damon's character, and Emily Blunt's character really have a fantastic witty repartee, and he's actually a politician. And I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and I'm going to look up the synopsis for you because they can do a better job on IMDb than I can for you. They've got great witty banter, and they've got some really fun one-liners that I think Matt Damon is just really well known for. If you've ever seen like Good Will Hunting and things like that, it's just okay. So the synopsis for The Adjustment Bureau says, the affair between a politician and a contemporary dancer is affected by mysterious forces keeping the lovers apart. And that is all it says. Universal Pictures is who does the film, and they say, do we control our destiny or do unseen forces manipulate us? A man glimpses the future fate has planned for him and realizes he wants something else. To get it, he must pursue across, under, and through streets of modern-day New York the only woman he's ever loved. On the brink of winning a seat in the U.S. Senate, ambitious politician David Norris, Matt Damon, meets beautiful contemporary ballet dancer Elise Sellis, Emily Blunt, a woman like none he's ever known, but just as he realizes he's falling for her, mysterious men conspire to keep the two apart. David learns he is up against the agents of fate itself, the men of the Adjustment Bureau, who will do everything in their considerable power to prevent David and Elise from being together. In the face of overwhelming odds, he must either let her go and accept a predetermined path, or risk everything to defy fate and to be with her. So there is a much better synopsis than I could have previously given you. It's an excellent movie. I highly recommend. 5 out of 5 stars for me. And I think it's a movie that kind of really went under the radar for a lot of people, or maybe wasn't their cup of tea. But truly, I don't hear people really bashing this movie. I just don't hear people talking about this movie. I feel like it just wasn't marketed very well. So a little bit of trivia about Adjustment Bureau. It is The Adjustment Bureau, by the way, but we're not counting the as part of the title, so we're just going with A Adjustment Bureau. Some fun little trivia about that is the phone number that Emily Blunt's character gives to Matt Damon's character, David, is actually a phone number that is a correct current phone number for Universal Studios. And they have given it out in several different movies, such as Definitely Maybe, starring Ryan Reynolds and Isla Fisher and Rachel Weisz and Elizabeth Banks, all kinds of people in that movie as well. But and also one of my favorite movies. But anyway, that number is given out often by Universal Studios movies in an effort to avoid my phone number is 555 and so on. And apparently if you call it, it will just ring indefinitely. It is a real number, it is in service, but nobody picks it up because they so often use it in movies that everybody calls it all the time. So a little bit of trivia there. The other one that I thought was really funny is 3 of the agents in the Adjustment Bureau are named Thompson, Richardson, and Harry. And I did not put it together at all until I was looking up the trivia, and apparently this is a play on the term every Tom, Dick, and Harry, which is just, if you're talking about some random person or some anonymous person, you say, yeah, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, right? So they did Thompson, Richardson, and Harry. I thought that was hilarious. So anyway, there is a little bit of trivia about the Adjustment Bureau. There was my A, and I am working on a temperature blanket for 2021 right now, and it is also going to be for the challenge that Ursula, Veronica, and Brenda are doing, channels linked below, for doing a big project this year outside of your comfort zone. I've never done a GrannySquare blanket before, ever in my life, and I've never done a temperature blanket ever in my life. So decided to do a temperature blanket that is GrannySquares. So the first square is denoted, beginning of the year or first of the month. And then the center of the square is going to be the high and the second color is going to be the low, so high, low. And I'm mostly just using Red Heart Super Saver in this project. And I am started on the third row there. My ends have not been woven in yet, so I apologize for everybody cringing right now. But I did actually just catch up today, or actually last night. And so I will be stopping and now weaving them all in because I am caught up with just a little bit over a month. I did all of January up until yesterday. So I will be stopping, weaving in ends before I go on any further. But this is the project that I've been working on during these movie and stitches. I believe I also worked on Setta's cowl. Setta's cowl. That's so hard for me to say every month, and I have to say that every month. Yikes. Maybe I'll get better by December, do you think? But I'm really enjoying that. So I also worked on that a little bit during some of these movies. And let me go grab that real fast. Okay, so the cowl that I did is the Crocodile Stitch cowl. And this is made in This is made from Lion Brand Mandala Ombre in the color Cool. So it's got some grays, a little bit of taupe-ish brown right in here, up to the almost white, really, really light gray, and then goes all the way to a charcoal in this ombre. This is actually a tutorial by Alison. I will put that down below. She's fabulous, super, super nice lady, really, really helpful. And this was a wonderful, wonderful stitch. It is, or cowl pattern. It's actually all one piece as it's sewn in together. So you just put it over. I'm wearing a real big cowl neck sweater right now, so I'm not going to put it on, but I did put it on in some of my previous podcasts where I showed this. So there's that. That's the other thing I was working on during these movies. Now let's go ahead and get on to B. Originally, I said that I was going to watch Backdraft. This is a movie that I had not previously seen. I am a huge action film junkie. I mean, huge. It is my favorite genre of film by far. I really like crime action drama, like, you know, cop type movies. I really enjoy heist movies. I really enjoy anything that's going to be blowing things up and chasing people around, and you know, any of that. Action adventure I like too, so you know, some big thing that they've got to go do that's chasing across the country or something. Anyway, I'm just blathering here, but I love action movies. I really enjoy Kurt Russell, and I thought, oh, I'm just gonna love Backdraft, and it's been one that we have been just waiting to watch for quite some time. We even own it, and we just, neither of us had seen it. So we went ahead and did this. So for Backdraft, this is a film made in 1991, 2 hours and 17 minutes. It is starring Kurt Russell, Billy Baldwin, and Robert De Niro, with an epic, maybe a little bit more than a cameo, but not a huge role, with Donald Sutherland, but Donald Sutherland steals the show. He's such an incredible actor. This is classified as an action crime drama mystery type movie. And let me go ahead and give you a synopsis for that one as well. This says, two Chicago firefighter brothers who don't get along have to work together while a dangerous arsonist is on the loose. Another one says, a rookie firefighter tries to earn the respect of his older brother and other firefighters while taking part in an investigation of a string of arson/murders. This detailed look into the duties and private lives of firemen naturally features widespread pyrotechnics and special effects. I was a bit disappointed in this movie. I don't even want to say that. This is a movie that I have wanted to watch for ages. I felt like it was like in my back pocket as far as my wheelhouse goes. I really felt like this was just a shoe-in for a movie that I really, really enjoyed. But the fact of the matter is I am a huge character-driven reader, watcher, so forth. I want to really care about the characters, and I thought maybe it was just me, but I spoke to Sean, my husband, later, and he absolutely was mimicking everything that I was thinking and saying, yeah, I didn't care about these characters. We had some backstory, and it was a drama, and we should have cared. You know, there was a lot of stuff going on, family drama, very high emotions, for good reason. And yet, when something happened to a character or a big fight or argument happened, we were just like, so what's going to happen? We were pretty invested in who's murdering people by, you know, starting these arson fires. What is the significance, if any, to the past? And are the brothers are they gonna rectify, you know, the problems that they've got going on? Are they gonna, you know, fix their relationship by the end? But other than that, if there were love stories going on or not, if someone, whatever, I don't want to have any spoilers, but we were just like, yeah, okay. It was a good movie. I am not sorry that I watched it in any way, shape, or form. I'm really glad to have said I've watched that movie and I didn't hate it. But it is not going to be on the top of my list for rewatches. It's not going to be making my list of like favorite movies. But I did enjoy it. Kurt Russell is never ever hard to look at, even today, but back in 1991 he was in his prime, you know. No wonder Goldie Hawn went for him. Gotta love those dimples. And Billy Baldwin, you know, the Baldwin brothers are always super entertaining to watch, so there was that. You've got Robert De Niro, never hard to watch him. He's an excellent actor as well. Like I said, Donald Sutherland was amazing, but oh so creepy, and it was great. So I'm really glad I watched it, and but I think I would give it a 3 out of 5. And I wonder if I'm just being harsh because it was a really hard week that week. I don't know, but Sean felt the same way. So we're gonna stick with a 3 out of 5. So some really fun trivia with this movie though. Kurt Russell actually plays their dad, Dennis McCaffrey, as well as brother Stephen McCaffrey. Which was kind of interesting, and actually Sean caught it and I didn't. I was crocheting. And they were doing a really good job of sort of only like half showing the dad's face in the very beginning. And I just thought they made it to look like him. But Sean's like, no, that's Kurt Russell. That's him playing it. And I'm like, no, he plays the younger kid. And he's like, no, that's him. And we looked it up, and for sure it is him. He plays both characters. Billy Baldwin and Kurt Russell both went to a firefighter boot camp, where they were put through the whole paces and, you know, definitely did have to do all of the drills and kind of learn what they were doing. They also slept in a Chicago firehouse for an entire month to prepare for the role. I thought that was pretty cool and actually pretty in-depth, you know, homework on their part. They did their own stunts, almost all of them, to the point where the stunt coordinator actually credited them at the end of the movie as stuntmen, which was kind of neat. That doesn't happen super often. But my very favorite piece of trivia is always the serendipity kind of things. Apparently Brad Pitt lost out on the role of Brian McCaffrey to Billy Baldwin. And Billy Baldwin was already set to play a very well-known character, JD, in Thelma and Louise. And he had to be released from that contract in order to play this role, Brian McCaffrey, in Backdraft. And that role very famously went to Brad Pitt to play JD in Thelma and Louise. So they essentially just swapped roles there, and it ended up being Brad's breakout role. Everybody knows him from Thelma and Louise, and if you don't, it is at least where a lot of people really went, oh, who's that new guy? And he, as soon as he went into Thelma and Louise, he made it big. So anyway, I thought that was really random and serendipitous that they kind of just swapped roles there. So, as I said, I really wanted to go ahead and watch another movie, and Sean and I were going to have a movie date anyway here at the house after the baby went to sleep, and so we put Grant down and we watched one of my favorite movies of all time, and it is now one of Sean's favorite movies of all time as well because I got him into it many years ago, and it is a movie called Broken Arrow. If you have not seen this film and you like action movies, please run and watch this movie. It's so good. 5 out of 5 stars every time. I've seen this movie, I don't know, probably 25 to 50 times within my life, and it never gets old for me. It is starring John Travolta and Christian Slater. It was made in 1996. It is 1 hour and 48 minutes. They are going to call this an action adventure thriller. Again, not scary in the slightest. It's an action adventure, and it is absolutely, without a doubt, going to kind of keep you at the edge of your seat, but it's not scary. You're not going to have nightmares. It's, you know, not a horror movie. There's nobody, you know, no serial killers running around, but it is excellent, and let me go ahead and give you a little synopsis on this one. So this synopsis lists it as terrorists steal nuclear warheads from the U.S. military but don't count on a pilot and park ranger spoiling their plans. The more in-depth synopsis says, Broken Arrow is the term used to describe a nuclear device that has been lost. In this movie, 2 nuclear missiles are stolen by rogue U.S. pilot Deacons, but hot on his trail is his co-pilot Hale and a park ranger Terri. The action takes place in Utah's Canyon Country, a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. I am a big-time fan of the Southwest. I absolutely love sandstone and red rock, and one of my biggest like bucket list items is to go hike the 5 major national parks in Utah: Arches, Bryce Canyon, Zion, etc., etc. I absolutely love that area. I think it's beautiful. I want to go hike them and camp them and just go and spend a couple of weeks in the middle of the summer one time just hanging out. Actually, maybe not summer because that would be pretty hot, but you know what I'm saying. So anyway, the scenery is gorgeous. There are so many big names in this movie besides John Travolta and Christian Slater. Delroy Lindo's in it. Howie Long is in it, as well as several other people that you may not know their names, but you're probably going to recognize their faces. Super, super good movie. And I just really enjoyed it. Again, I was working on my temperature blanket, and just had a blast. As always, laugh out loud scenes, great one-liners, especially by John Travolta. There are a couple between the park ranger, Terri, and Christian Slater as well that always get some chuckles. But just a really good time. A really good time. And this is another one I don't hear anybody talking about anymore. At the time, when it first came out, I did hear people talking about it more often. Now it just seems to be one that you either know it or you don't. But super good movie, and had a blast watching it. No pun intended. A little bit of trivia about Broken Arrow. Let me change pages. Christian Slater did most of his stunts, which I can't wait to tell Sean, because there were a few times in the movie he's, oh yeah, sure, like that would happen. He did his own stunts, cowboy. Okay, one of my favorite factoids about this movie is actually a bit of a spoiler. So if you have not seen the movie, go ahead and mute me or look away. Just give me like 30 seconds. I'm going to tell the fact and then you can come back. I'm going to raise my hand right here. And that way, when my hand goes down, if you're muting me, when my hand goes down, you can go ahead and start listening again. Are you ready? Okay. One of my favorite facts here is that John Travolta's character Deacons actually took off his military uniform around about the time he was revealed as a traitor. And this was actually a request by the U.S. military. They did not want someone wearing the uniform as a known traitor. I thought that was pretty cool. But in case you haven't seen the movie, I did not want to spoil that for you all, that he was the villain of the movie. That being said, it's in the trailer, so it's really not that big of a spoiler, but I'm really, really anti-spoiler. So again, like I said, for everybody else that's listening, you can definitely listen again, spoiler-free zone now, but I am super, super against spoilers. In fact, like, I'm kind of a jerk. If you spoil a movie or a show for me, I'm not a happy camper. I really love the surprise, and if I already know what's going to happen, that just ruins the whole first take for me. Not that I'm not going to go back and rewatch it after I already know what's going to happen in most cases, but I really want to enjoy that first experience without spoilers. So I try my best not to spoil anybody else. Or if I spoiled you, you knew I was going to and you chose to listen anyway, right? Let's see. Broken arrow is actually a real term. However, it's not the correct term. The correct term for a loss or theft of a nuclear weapon is actually called an empty quiver. However, broken arrow is a real term used by the U.S. military, but it is a U.S. nuclear weapon accident that does not create the risk of nuclear war. So, two different terms. I'm sure they just decided to name it Broken Arrow because it was close enough, and a way better name for a movie than Empty Quiver. And the last little trivia fact I've got for you regarding Broken Arrow is that Samantha Mathis, who plays Terri, the female park ranger in the film, she actually was good friends with Sandra Bullock. So Samantha Mathis went ahead and asked her good friend Sandra Bullock for any advice on becoming an action film star, and Sandra Bullock famously quipped, "Yes, go ahead and hum the James Bond theme song before every scene take." And that just cracked me up. That sounds like just par for the course as far as Sandra Bullock quips, and she's always one of my favorites for exactly that kind of reason. So, let's see. So that's what I've watched so far. These are what I have created. And going forward, I am going to continue working on these two projects for the most part. I am going to be continuing work on my temperature blanket, and I probably will be working on subsequent Setta cowls for the cowl. Again, that's so hard for me. In fact, I'm working on February's now, and I can almost guarantee you that when we sit down to watch one of these upcoming movies, I will be going ahead and working on that. So for C, what am I going to watch, you ask? Well, the first movie I'm going to be watching is called The Commuter. This is a movie starring Liam Neeson and Vera Farmiga. It was new in 2018, so only a couple of years old, and I never got to see it. Life was crazy right then. I was getting married that year and got pregnant very soon thereafter and never got around to watching it. It is definitely classified as an action mystery thriller. I do think this one might be a little bit more of a brain tease. It's very possibly a little bit more thrillery, but I have not seen it, so I don't know. It is 1 hour and 44 minutes. So I will let you know how that goes next week. As far as my second film, I will be watching Crazy Stupid Love, which is a wonderful, witty, hilarious, adorable film starring Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, and the lovely Julianne Moore, with a side role by Kevin Bacon. There are other people in this film that you're going to recognize but may not know their names. It's an all-star ensemble cast, and I love every minute of it every time I watch it. So if I don't end up liking The Commuter, I know that I've got just an ace in the hole as far as Crazy Stupid Love goes, and I will talk about those next time. So if you're doing Movie and Stitch, please let me know what that you're doing it, and I'm going to go and watch your video. If you're doing Movie and Stitch along with us, but you're not making videos, leave a comment below and say, hey, this is what I watched this week while I was crocheting. I would love to know. If there's a movie that I've missed in A, B, or C, let me know. I will add it to my to-be-watched list. Love, recommendations for another good film, movie, TV show, what have you. So let me know what you're watching down below, okay, you guys? And until next time, Hope you're having a great night, week, weekend, day, whenever you're watching this, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye, guys.